of you folks, if you could have seen Uncle Matt, you'd appreciate the stories better. And he was probably, what, 6'5" or 6'5" at least,
I
wasn't he?
thought he was scary. He was
Yeah,
so
scary
tall.
voice.
Huh?
Had a scary voice.
Yeah, he had this deep voice, you know. But anyway, there was, on Sunday afternoons, I was telling Tim about this a while ago, but back in the early 50s, like the late 40s, early 50s, his little store, that one, that was the only one that was open. That's when they'd moved it. I'm referring when they'd moved it up there for the road, you know. And people would just, you know, go migrate to Lenore to work in the factories and stuff. And then on Sundays, they come back to Ferguson. You know, and that was a big deal, come to Ferguson. And you'd come to, we call them Cousin's store, and you'd come to see who you could see. And you didn't know who's going to come through, you know. I mean, it was a treat just to go get on that bench and wait and see who's coming through, you know. So there was a man lived down toward Goshen that way, and he was a Pennell. Pennell was his name, and I don't know who he is. Some of you folks may remember who he is. And but he stayed kind of on top of new products and that kind of thing, you know. And anyway, nobody in Ferguson had ever seen a Volkswagen, never. And he got one, 1949, 1950. And he couldn't wait for Sunday hardly to come to Cousins with the Volkswagen. And so they pumped your gas. In the old store that you see sitting there right out from it, you had 2 gas pumps out there. And so Cuz comes out, checks your oil, and pumps your gas. That's the way it was in those days. Now you got to picture him standing way, way higher than that Volkswagen. If he laid down, he was probably as long as it was. And this man come hoping there's going to be a bunch of people there. I'm glad I happened to be there. And he come for the fun of it. So he pulls up, and nobody had ever seen a car with a motor in the back. Never seen a Volkswagen. So this guy pulls the hood latch. And Cuz walks around and he says, "What for you, mister?" He said, "Check the oil in this thing." And he pulls the hood latch, the motor's in the back. So, and Cuz raises the hood, and there ain't no motor. And the hood's up, and I can see him now, and he looks, and he walks around, and think how tall he is, and he's looking down at that man sitting in that Volkswagen, and he said, "Mister, you have lost your motor." And boy, we laughed over that. I don't know for how long we laughed. Still laugh over it today. And he talked to him loud, you know. But then the other car story, I got to tell you this one. And like I said, back in those days, a lot of families didn't even have a car, you know. To get a car was something else. But somewhere along the way, Gene Watson had been working some at the sawmill place and saved up some money. And the word I heard was that Gene Watson had bought a car. And I mean, that was a big deal, boy, to get a car, especially if you were younger, you know, but he'd got a hold of some kind of car. And but Gene had to work on everything. It didn't matter what it was. He had to work on it, and actually turned out to be a pretty good, you know, fixer of things. So I heard that he'd got a car, like a 40-some Chevrolet or 30-some or what it was. And I went over to the store, this store right here, and I saw a car sitting on that end over there, and it fit the description that I'd gotten about Gene's car, and I walked in, and now, Cuz, he didn't call them cars, they were automobiles. It's the only way he ever referred to one was an automobile. And so, I walked in, and I sat down a minute, and I'm about 10, 11 years old or something, and I said, "Cuz, I heard Gene Watson got a car." "Yeah, Watson now owns an automobile." And I said, "Look, is that it sitting out there around the corner? It looks like," somebody told me what it looked like, and that looks like that might be it. "That is Watson's automobile." I said, "Well, hood's up on it." "Why's the hood up on it?" So Watson pulled in, and his automobile had a good tune. And Watson has to tinker with everything. And he raised the hood, tried to find another tune, and now it don't have a tune. And the last time I seen him, he was back to hoofing it again. So he went up the road walking. Here you go. Don't turn your head. Tim gets started there. Here goes all the stories, boy.
Sandy, do you know any still sing?
No,
Back, I told Harold he needed to share some, and
Come on,
Harold said,
Harold.
I don't know any, and I said, Harold, you can tell some on me. He said, yeah, but I'd have to clean them up. But he told me he was just picking on me.
Horace, tell about whenever, let me get this a second.
When Horace and I were talking a few, like last week, about doing this, we were talking about when Tom Dooley's story really broke out big after the Michael Landon film and then the Life magazine thing, and he was telling me how the whole nature of Ferguson changed when this happened, how the landscape changed with the people that were coming into Ferguson, and what a big deal that was, and how he made a pretty good living.
Well, what we did, me and Dennis Watson especially, the bench, this place is just not right without that bench. You gotta have that bench.
Where was the bench to the
Well,
right or the left?
right on the other side of the door.
Yeah, and it didn't have the porch. It was on the ground. The bench sat
Okay.
on the ground. Yeah. But anyway, that's fine. But anyway, when the Tom Dooley thing came out, then all of a sudden people started coming from everywhere. And you've seen them. They come around at at your store, I'm sure, but looking for the Tom Dooley grave and all that stuff. And we'd just go down there and sit on that bench, and people come through from everywhere, you know, because that thing was really popular. And they'd want to know, where is the grave? Is this where the Tom Dooley thing is? I said, this is the Tom Dooley headquarters right here, this right here. And her mother had made souvenirs like a fiddle tie tack, you know, tie pin, and maybe some earrings, cufflinks. Do you remember the stuff she made?
Yeah.
And then your grandpa had, I say grandpa, father, everyone said, and he'd, I guess he wrote the book and she had painted the pictures, drawn the pictures. And Cuz had that stuff, he had the souvenirs in there, and it was the headquarters, you know. And so we'd hang out on that bench, and these people would come through want to know where this thing is, and we'd say, well, we know the whole story, you know, and we know where the graves are, and we can take you on the tour. And we'd let up with these strangers and take off, some, you know, most of the time by yourself. And sometimes, I mean, you think 1957, and sometimes we get 50-cent piece, sometimes you get $1, maybe you get $1, you'd struck it rich, you know. And we'd take these people and show them these places, and we'd take them up to the Tom Dooley road first to that grave. And then most times you come back, they might give you 50 cents, and then, so what you do, you throw your sales pitch on Laura Foster's grave. Maybe get another 50 cents. I know where it is too. I know. Don't put them together. We had that thing figured out. And, so anyway, I was down there one day, and there was a pickup truck with an Ohio tag pulled in, and so this guy got out, and I was sitting on the bench by myself. That's what I'd gone over there for, hoping I'd get a little business. And he said, is around here, is this where this Tom Dooley thing happened? I said, yeah, this is it. This is the headquarters right here. They got souvenirs in there and everything. And I said, I know where the grave is. You know, to tell them right quick about that. You know. Well, could you take us to see it? And I said, yeah. I got in a pickup with this man and woman from Ohio, and went up Tom Dooley Road and went out to the grave and all that stuff. And I'm telling them the story, you know. Come back, and then I threw the Laura Foster pitch on them, and so, well, we've come all the way from Ohio, we'll see the whole thing, you know. And I said, well, we'll go to the grave, and then when you come back, you can go in there and get the souvenirs and the book. They got it in there. And they said, okay. And so they said, we'll give you an extra 50 cents. And I said, that sounds good to me. So we went to Laura Foster's grave, and we come back. And so I went in with them to see the souvenirs, pick out what they want, you know. And you folks that didn't know Wayne Minton, you missed out. I mean, did they miss out, Tim? So anyway, Wayne, he's Cuz's boy, but I mean, he's 40 years old, or 50 at that time, 45, and he's the best leather craftsman you ever seen in your life, I guess, wasn't he? He'd make the ladies' purses and billfolds and stuff, and he'd set up an assembly line in there, and all us boys, me and Dennis Watson and James Foster and Raymond and my brother Joe, and he'd line us up. And when he was ready to lace, he'd pay us a nickel to lace a billfold. He taught us how to lace. Man, well, I'd lace too and get a Moon Pine RC. How you gonna beat that? And so Wayne's always going on with stories and tales. It's so funny, wasn't it, Tim? And so he would sit in this chair beside the stove in this corner. You see that window there, but in that corner. And he could look out that window over toward Tim's store, see the highway and see everything that's going on. And he always had to keep his feet above his head. And he had him a board nailed across there, and he'd throw his feet up and lay some work on that leather stuff beside that stove. He'd be watching out the window all the time to see what's going on because he didn't want to miss anything. So anyway, that's his position. I wanted to give you that position so you could see him in that corner when we got back. And he's laid back in that chair. And is a chair, it wasn't a recliner, but it's a chair kind of laid back. And he said to them people, "Where are you folks from?" They said, "Ohio." And they said, "You come all the way down here just about this Tom Dooley thing?" "Yeah." So everybody's singing that song up there and talking about it, and we decided to come down here. He said, "You've come to the right place." He said, "I'm going to send you back with a straight scoop on that thing." And I'm sitting over and I'm thinking, "Oh no, it's something I want to," because Wayne would come up with something. You know, they just ran him something, but not like Tim was, but he could come up with them, boy. And I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of slid down. And I thought, I wonder what he's going to tell him. And he cranked up and he said, "Now listen, do you want the straight scoop or not? If you don't want it, I'm not going to tell you." "Yeah, we want it. And he's got him begging for it, you know. And he said, "They did not kill that woman with a knife." They said, "What do you mean? They didn't kill her with a knife? That's what the song says." He said, "They couldn't write that song and do all of that if it wasn't the truth, could they?" He said, "They lied like a dog." Said they didn't kill that woman with no knife. And this woman said, "Well, how did they kill him?" And he said, "They hit her in the head with a pine knot." I said, "What?" He'd keep a straight face. He wouldn't lie. And I'm over there putting my hands over my mouth. You know, he said they hit her in the head with a pine knot. Is how they killed him. He said, "You go back and tell them folks you found out the truth on this thing." And he didn't tell them any different. And I would like to be in Ohio and heard them when they got back.